Two Chinese nationals could face up to 3 years in jail after they were arrested for theft on a Scoot flight on Monday. Court documents say a crime committed on a Singapore-registered plane is subject to Singapore law, regardless of where the plane is flying. Now, items allegedly stolen were 2 debit cards and 169 Singapore dollars worth of cash. The alleged crime happened on a Scoot evening flight TR469 from Kuala Lumpur to Singapore. An off-duty police officer on the flight saw the accused acting suspiciously and alerted the authorities after disembarking from the aircraft.
We were seated in row 2 and we spotted a male subject moving around in the cabin suspiciously. So he was seen opening one of the overhead compartment and took something out from a sling bag and placed it into another bag.
With key information provided by 2 observant passengers who were on board the flight and aid of CCTV footage, officers were able to establish the identities and locations of the subject. They were arrested within 1 hour before they could board their connecting flight on board Changi Airport Terminal 1.
And for more analysis on in-flight thefts, we are now joined by John Tan. He is Lead Professional Officer of SIT's Aviation Management Degree Program. Mr. Tan, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So, paint us a picture. Are we seeing a rise in petty theft or perhaps even organized crime in the aviation sector? And if so, what's driving it?
Unfortunately, I think that is actually a growing concern. While most of the thefts are opportunistic, like what happened in these 2 Chinese nationals, so by chance they saw it, just take it. There are a lot of there's evidence that a lot of cases are actually group crimes, whereby they usually operate in groups of 2, and they are targeting the premier customers, and actually they steal wherever they can. And these syndicates, unfortunately, they are actually getting more and more notorious nowadays. They usually operate during the meal hours or maybe during the lights off period during the flights.
You mentioned that these groups, they target premium customers.
Yes.
Are there certain flight routes or regions more vulnerable to these crimes than others?
Sure. There are flights which are basically what we call international long-haul flights, more than 10 hours, so that's one. The other one is actually, it does actually involve overnight flights, the red-eye flights. There are also some that actually are for holiday makers. So, it's a human mentality. If you're going for holidays, you tend to be actually more relaxed, you actually sleep on the flights and whatnot. Whereas for the long-haul flights, the night flights, it's just a body clock. You feel tired, you just want to go to sleep. And that's the time where when the lights start going off, that's where all these thefts will actually happen.
And how are airlines and countries and governments in the region responding to the issue in terms of prevention and enforcement? Are there established operational SOPs in place?
Yes. First and foremost, the airlines are actually taking a proactive steps in this because, as you can understand, a theft actually does actually affect the reputations of the airline. You don't want to be an airline to be branded that, we always have theft for our customers. So what will happen is that airlines, they do actually train their cabin crew. So they actually notice what is actually the abnormal. They are learned to actually pick what's the suspicious behavior. Like this this off-duty police officer, he picked up something that's actually suspicious. Not only you actually pick up this suspicious behavior, you also report and actually try to follow up with them. So that is actually from the airline side. And also they are actually working very closely with the partner carriers or the partner airlines where they do intel exchange. For example, these are people they are actually considered high risk, or there are routes whereby this theft always happen. They will share such intelligence, such information to the partners.
So only partner airlines?
Those that actually operate, no. That's where I come to the airport side. So the airport, they will actually go through the civil aviation authorities, the government, to actually share such information regionally with the other countries as well.
Is this something that's only recently imposed or implemented?
It has always been around sharing of the information. But just for this particular case about the in-flight theft, that is actually something new. But all along, there could be terrorism issues, there could be criminals actually running around. So this is actually a good practice that has been happening for quite some time.
So cabin crew, flight attendants, they have been trained to spot suspicious behavior on board. Given the cross-border nature of air travel, how is jurisdiction determined in these cases? Are existing legal framework sufficient to prosecute such offences effectively?
Okay, the jurisdiction, I think I just saw the news today. It is actually based, the jurisdiction is only based on where the aircraft is registered.
Okay.
Like, for example, Scoot is registered in Singapore, so Singapore actually has a jurisdiction. However, there is actually a slight, it is actually based on this Tokyo Convention of 1963, whereby it provides a basic legal framework on what the captain or the aircraft commander can do to how do they actually handle crimes that actually happen on the international flight. However, the problem is that was about like 62 years ago. So in a modern context, the challenge is that it doesn't know how to address the prosecutions, for example, especially with the cross jurisdiction. So there is actually, it is time to actually update these conventions. Okay, and I do actually see that there is, so in the meantime, there should be a lot of bilateral agreement, discussions, and collaborations while this process is going on. And I would not be surprised that international bodies like ICAO, which stands for International Civil Aviation Organization, is an international body whereby they will come and coordinate such initiative with all the airlines globally.
What are some potential solutions being explored to tackle in-flight theft at the moment? Is surveillance the only viable option, or can passengers play a more proactive role in the awareness and education part of the prevention strategy?
Sure. Surveillance is critical, but it's not going to be enough. We are actually looking at a multi-tier measures to actually prevent this. So first and foremost, as I mentioned already, it is the cabin crew who has been trained in this to pick out these activities. Second one is actually the educational process of the passengers. So throughout the in-flight, you actually do broadcasting, actually be aware of your luggages and whatnot. So it's just like in airport, there's a lot of public announcement telling the passenger, do not actually leave your own luggage unattended. Say a few times, it will actually go into them. But this is actually the second one. The third one, to me, I think is actually very important is at the country level, they do coordinations with the different authorities. Like, for example, the airlines. See, in the ecosystem of aviation, it do not actually exist alone. Airlines need to work hand in hand with the airports, with, let's say, the ICAs, with the police. So by doing so, they can do cross-inter-exchange, and it will be able to discourage, or it actually gives the impression to the to-be criminals that risk is very, very high for them to commit one.
Very, very quickly, yes. Mr. I just have to ask this. So do you think it's safer then to keep our belongings under our seats rather than up in the cabin?
I think it's actually important to keep it actually under the seat because you can actually see it. If you actually put it on top, there's actually a chance that you may not be able to see it.
Okay.
So that, I mean, visibility, keep in contact with all this, and try not to put everything in one place. I mean, there are pockets and elsewhere, so you can actually put it on. All
right, Mr. Tan, I appreciate your advice, and thank you so much for coming in tonight. That was John Tan, Lead Professional Officer of SIT's Aviation Management Degree Program.